Hi guys. I told you months ago that I would go ahead and finish the series on salicylates and oxalates when I did the lectin video. And obviously I picked lectins because I was pretty strongly convicted that I was having issues with them, and that did turn out to be correct. And in case you have been following me for at least the last week or two, you realize I have had some mouth issues, and that was related to some supplements I was taking. But in the few weeks before that, I had one symptom start cropping up, and my tongue had started to feel raw. It's the best way I can explain it. Almost like I had eaten an entire thing of sweet tarts, and you know how the sugar, as you're chewing on those, just kind of rubs your tongue raw if you eat them too fast. And based on the foods it was occurring with, I was kind of starting to think maybe I was having some SALS issues. And now I'm kind of thinking maybe it was more the vitamin A issues. But I wanted to go ahead and do this video for you guys. Obviously, I have not studied salicylates nearly as in depth as I have lectins. So hopefully this sort of consolidates stuff into the basic things that you can sort of look out for in case you think you might be having issues, and give you some direction on where to go for more information. And if you're unaware, I do typically put a description in, and there are some links down there. The first website has some really good food lists that break down the SALS content from all the way from negligible all the way up to very high, and they do base that on like scientific count type situations, as far as I think it's milligrams, but whatever units they are. But anyway, if you want more information, check out the links down below. And if you want to hear about lectins, I'll put the card up in the corner for you there. Let's get rolling. All right, so let's start off with what is a salicylate? And it is any of a group of chemicals with salicylic acid as its base. If you're anything like me, the only place I knew salicylic acid was in skincare products made for like acne or teenagers with problem skin. It's the only place I'd ever heard about it. I had no idea that would have been found in food, but in reality it actually is. And as strange as that sounds, it's naturally occurring in food. For much the same reason lectins naturally occur in food. It is part of the plant's defense system against things wanting to eat it. So that is what it's for. Like, that's why it's naturally occurring. It does happen to mainly be found in plant materials. So your fruits, your vegetables, your spices. The places you're not really going to find it are your meat, fish, dairy, although it doesn't seem to be in grains a whole lot either. So anyways, where can you find it? As with the lectins, they are in the nightshades. They're also highest levels found in spices, but then you've got your berries and your fruits seem to be in the fairly high levels as well. It is found in some other vegetables like radishes, and I know broccoli is high as well. The nuts seem to be all over the place. Almonds are high, but then things like peanut butter and that sort of thing are lower. And actually, now that I think about it, peanuts are a legume, so that's not terribly surprising since grains and legumes don't seem to be in the high category with this particular issue. Other places you would find it, things like teas, and it seemed to be all teas, which kind of makes sense because it seemed to be high in herbs and spices. And that's often if you're not drinking regular tea, that's typically their herbal teas. But this did seem to, everything seemed to indicate that all teas are fairly high. Another place that you would find it, any of your aspirins and your, I want to say NSAIDs, but like your Aleve, your ibuprofen, salicylic acid is also commonly in those types of things. If you're more on the herbal side of pain relief, you might be looking at your white willow bark. That is the natural sort of precursor to aspirin. And salicylic acid is the main thing. It is mixed with something else to form aspirin, and as per usual, most of that stuff is synthetic these days. But that is also a major place, and in major quantity, like hundreds of times higher than what you would find in like your raspberries. It's also, of course, found in skincare products, and based on the list of kind of the skincare, it seems to be not only the skincare targeted at problem skin, but also some of the ones that might get advertised as like they won't clog pores, like sunscreens and stuff. I'm not quite sure why they would do that way, but maybe because it's an anti-inflammatory, having heavy, greasy type products on your skin, adding some salicylic acid or similar, might reduce that inflammation. I'm not really sure there. Just my opinion and thoughts on what might be going on. So anyway, what might you be feeling if you are having SALS reactions? Unfortunately, a lot of them do seem to be similar to what you would expect for histamine reactions. Sinus issues, asthma, abdominal pain, diarrhea, hives, inflammation. The list goes on. Migraines were another thing that was mentioned. All stuff that can cause, various, discomfort, for lack of a better term. And unfortunately, I didn't find a whole lot of information on what you can do about it. So obviously checking with your doctor, but it seemed like the biggest medical fix for this was desensitization, which just means they give you some of it every day in a medical setting. So if you have asthma or go into anaphylactic shock, you're covered. Which I don't know about you, doesn't seem terribly promising to me. But definitely consult your medical practitioners. I'm sure a functional doctor could probably come up with some other ideas. And as with everything else, I would tend to look for, okay, well, why am I reacting to these more? I didn't really find any root cause type information, but I did notice that the salicylate sensitivities and allergy responses can also kind of be precursors to things like IBS and Crohn's. So that might be something you can kind of work your way back to and then see where to go from there. Obviously avoiding high sals foods is something you would want to start doing. But at the same time, it seemed to be they're not recommending on any of the sites I looked at to go more than about 4 weeks on an elimination diet without eating any foods in the higher sals categories. So I'm not sure if that would put you into that situation where you start reacting more to them, or if it's just you're not going to have the nutrition that you need, which I don't know. If you've been dealing with histamine intolerance already, you're probably in that situation to some degree already. And as with everything, definitely be getting some testing done and not just guessing. I probably haven't emphasized that enough on this channel. I do pay for testing even though I don't have cooperative medical care. And if I don't have the understanding to read those test results and I'm needing help, I'll get a consultation with someone. So like I said, I just kind of wanted to give you guys the basics on what you might be seeing for possible reactions, where they're found, what to kind of look for. And then if you are needing a deeper dive, you can put a comment in and let me know what you're dealing with, but I can't guarantee I would be able to help or know how to deal too much with the high sal stuff. One thing I did forget to mention that I found very interesting. So it doesn't appear that you can cook food to make sals go away, but it does seem like it's the inverse of histamines. So your salicylates are going to be lower in your foods the riper they get, which of course that's not great if you have histamine intolerance too, because obviously we need to be more on the underripe side. But I just thought it was interesting that they seemed to go the opposite direction. So, if this is one of those things that you think you're dealing with, let me know that down below. And maybe I will try to start giving you guys some low sals options. I know broccoli is one of those things that I have as a go-to, and that is high sals. So I could probably try and find some alternatives for that. But anyway, hopefully this helped. Please, if you found some value in it, hit that like button and subscribe. Come back on Friday for the raid parade. Not sure exactly what I'm fixing, but I will have something in there this week, and I will be going live right after we finish the raid parade. So I will see you guys on Friday. Have a great week.